Alrighty, guys, we are back with Mr. Proda here, and he is gonna go
Hello,
ahead
hello, hello, hello.
introduce himself.
I am Proda. Some of you already know me. I have been on the channel already in the past more than once. I am a friend of Celeste and also a manager slash assistant. I help her out with basically coming up with a lot of the topics that we discuss in the streams and videos, do research, and do a lot of behind the scenes work. That being said, today we will be talking about transhumanism and how this is directly in contrast with Christian dogma and doctrine in general. First of all, what is transhumanism and why do we speak about it? We speak about it because recently it has become more and more prevalent among the uh, tech bros, quote unquote, and in fact, it is a very pervasive ideology among that demographic. And we can consider transhumanism as the philosophy that believes it is necessary to search for a way to improve the human body. Either that could be through mechanical augmentation, through eugenics to create new and better generations of humanity, or by uploading one's consciousness into a computer. Now,
So basically, like, someone had mentioned in chat earlier before you got here, kind of like Cyberpunk, right? In a way.
yes, exactly. In fact, we could say that Cyberpunk and also Warhammer 40,000 are great examples of transhumanism in different ways. In Cyberpunk, the whole cybernetic augmentation is at its start, quote unquote. It is a society that is starting with the process of transhumanism, while Warhammer 40,000 has transhumanism as a very developed concept, very developed, not just a philosophy, a truth of their existence. For example, the Mechanicum. There was even this famous meme about how this guy from the Mechanicum, from the moment he understood the weakness of his flesh, it disgusted him, stuff like that. That is pretty much a good approximation of what transhumanism is. Now, there is, there are actually, sorry for the mistake, there are actually very different branches of transhumanism. Two two philosophers describe them as TESCREAL, which is an acronym to mean transhumanism, extropianism, singularitarianism, cosmism, rationalism, efficacious altruism, and long-termism. I will briefly explain what each of these branches mean. We already explained the meaning of transhumanism in general. Extropianism is a branch of transhumanism that basically focuses on the belief of countering entropy, and on the belief on a belief that can be considered the extreme positivism, for they believe that human science, if given a long enough time frame, will be able to basically even solve what is now considered impossible by science, go against the laws of thermodynamics, remove completely entropy from the equation, make humanity immortal, stuff like that, which in a sense, as Christians, we can understand this as a sort of modern way to recreate the Tower of Babel, as a rebellion against God, as an attempt from man to do what only God should do.
Not only that,
No.
it also sounds like they're kind of coming up with their own religion, right? Like a worship of
Yes,
the
yes.
self, very much.
Yes, I was going to get there, but
Oh,
yes. In fact, no, 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 that is completely fine. In fact, we can say that the various branches of transhumanism, in various ways, represents aspects of a religion, like, for example, extropianism and long-termism represent the millenarist aspect, the quote-unquote goal of the religion. So creating an idealistic future, which can also be applied, for example, to other ideology, for example, communism. They have their ideal future in the communist world, which in many ways does also have some religious aspects. Now, back to the topic though, sorry. They also have their dogma. Their dogma is different, of course, than Christian dogma. They and is represented by rationalism. Why do I say it is a dogma? Because rationalism in and of itself simply is the belief that anything that exists in the universe can be understood and properly explained by human reason and through human science, which is not necessarily true, and we can't actually prove that this is true. This is an assumption of faith. This is in and of itself a dogma that is different from the dogmas of Christianity, of course, but it is a dogma. They take as a matter of faith that yes, everything that exists can be known through our reason, and sooner or later humanity will be able to understand everything. Now, they also have a messianic aspect, that is the singularity belief, the singularitarianism. Now, what is the singularity? The singularity is an event following which human technological progress will increase exponentially, faster and faster and faster.
right.
Some believe that this singularity will be caused by AI, because AI at a certain point will become intelligent enough to improve itself.
So
And if
basically, like
AI,
iRobot. Sorry,
yes, in
I'm
a
sorry to
way,
laugh,
yes.
but that's kind of like
No,
what
no,
I
no.
think about.
Yes, that I it could be construed as that. Yes, basically, we can see the singularity as their messiah. So they want to reach the singularity that would be this state where human technology improves so fast that at that point anything becomes possible. So humanity and all humans becomes basically gods. In fact, some of them do explicitly say that their goal is to become a new breed of men, which they call Homo Deus, which would be man God, which in and of itself, as a Christian, this is clearly blasphemous, because
Yeah, because we're never gonna have God's like divine, essence and energies. Like we're not gonna become Him. Like we get
yes,
to partake,
yes,
if I remember, if
exactly.
that's the Orthodox position, but not become.
No, we become similar to God. We through a process of theosis, we partake in His essence, but we cannot become God, because our essence is fundamentally different.
Right.
But the idea among the transhumanists is that through genetic manipulation, through mechanical augmentation, through various quote unquote biohacking methods, they can solve bugs in the human body and make themselves immortal, make themselves de facto gods. At least that is what they claim. Specifically, one example is Brian Johnson, who is probably the most famous among the
Mm-hmm.
transhumanists. He is the guy who basically has been using the blood of his teenage son
Oh my
for
gosh, I saw that
transfusions.
actually.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, to quote unquote maintain his youth. He has also been diagnosed with um,
Was it cancer that he has?
autoimmune gastritis that
Oh my gosh.
could lead to stomach cancer, but it leads also to malnutrition because he would then have a lot of trouble absorbing iron and
Right.
vitamins
Yeah,
from his diet.
it sounds really dangerous. Yeah. You know what
Yes,
he sounds like as well? And I don't know if this is like gonna go too much into conspiracy territory area, but people in
go on.
Hollywood, right? I think something that gives a lot of people their youthful appearance, and once they kind of run out of, taking that, is androchrome, I think, or something like that. I don't know if it's
Adrenochrome.
right.
Adrenochrome. Yes,
Right.
it's a hormone that, if I remember correctly, it is produced much more in younger people. There is a foundation of truth in this, in that there have been experiments with mice in where older and senile mice, when they received uh, blood transfusions from young mice, would
Mm-hmm.
regain mental acuity and regain part of their muscular prowess. So it's not completely bunk, and there is a reason to do that. But of course, as Christians, that is not
Right.
something. It's clearly not something very ethical to do.
Yeah,
Now,
it's not. And not only that, I think that, and obviously a lot of us probably would love to be young and turn back the time. Like, I
of
mean, even
course,
me at 26, some days I want to go back to being, 21 or even 18 and just do life over again. But I think that people who do this and try to find ways to make themselves immortal, um, and I don't know if I can comment here, I might go on a little spiel, is, they're trying to avoid the hard reality of life. They're trying to avoid the dance with death,
yes.
thinking about their own mortality. And I think more
Not
people
just
would
that.
benefit from
You,
facing, the fact that we are mortal, that we are finite,
it's,
and do better
yes.
with their lives.
And I will continue explaining the other branches that I hadn't explained yet. There is also Cosmism.
Mm,
Cosmism is, frankly, the least problematic from a Christian point of view. It is simply the belief that for the good of mankind, sooner or later, we will have to expand
hmm.
outwards out of Earth and colonize other worlds, which is,
So, what you're telling me is stellar humanism.
yes,
Leaflet,
unironically,
if you're
yes.
watching, I love you. I'm so sorry.
No, 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 that's correct. And to be frank, Cosmism is the out of all the branches of transhumanism, that is the least problematic from a Christian point of view, because, of course,
Hmm.
if in the future Earth would end up not having enough resources, I can see humanity trying to colonize Mars or other further away planets. But that is certainly not something that we need to be preoccupied about right now. It
Right.
is something that will come to pass maybe in 200-300 years.
That's if Christ
Then,
doesn't come before then. That's for sure. Is like
yes,
the Christian.
Maranatha, Maranatha. It means please come back.
Please come
Uh,
back sooner, please.
yeah, yeah. Now, there is also the efficacious altruism, which is, as a name, is kind of um, a false friend because it is tricky. It is viewing altruism and being good to others in a mathematical way, like as a sort of equation,
Mm-hmm.
you compute how to do the most good possible to the most amount of people. And for example, this can bring to uh, unethical actions just because they, in the long run, will help people. For example, if I go and rob a bank
Mm-hmm.
to uh, become rich and then give the money that I obtain by robbing the bank to charity,
Mm-hmm.
that is considered more efficacious than just donating my personal money to charity. But we can all agree from a Christian point of view that stealing from others to donate to charity, like Robin Hood,
Mm-hmm.
it's not exactly uh, a Christian behavior, I would suppose. And
Yeah, no,
finally,
it's not.
there is long-termism. This particular branch of transhumanism focuses on the quote unquote long term good of the human species. And this again can be used to justify very evil actions in the present just because they might lead to the creation of the singularity faster. Like, for example, if we subject Chinese workers to slave like labor conditions, they will help us produce more microchips
Mm-hmm.
faster that we will then use for our AI projects. And if AI is built faster and better and it can evolve faster, we will reach the singularity faster. And when we reach the singularity, everyone will benefit, even those workers that were forced into slave like conditions, which, of course, again, as a Christian, we know the end does not justify the means. We can't just reduce people into slavery because this way our national production quotas will skyrocket. That
Mm-hmm.
doesn't work.
Right.
Of course, as I said in the beginning, there are different ways to approach the transhumanism aspect. The goal in general is to quote unquote improve upon the human form. There are some, as I mentioned, that would like to undergo mechanical augmentation.
Mm-hmm.
There are others who would prefer to upload their consciousness into computers, and others still that believe that genetic engineering applied to humans and eugenics is ethical and will lead to a stronger and better humanity in the future. Now we
So
will
basically,
take
people are trying to propagate what happened during, like, Nazi Germany now, and even like Canada, for example, right now with the
in a
immune
way,
system.
yes,
Similar.
that can be construed as being a eugenics project, and you could argue that some people with transhumanist views would approve of it simply because in the long run it will improve humanity and it will quote unquote accelerate the progress from Homo sapiens to Homo Deus. Now, obviously, this goes into direct contrast with our beliefs as Christians for various reasons. First of all, the one that I mentioned at the start. It is sort of like wanting to create a modern Tower of Babel. Another, not less important, is that Christ came to us in the body of man. So the humanity in both body and soul is the image of God.
Mm-hmm.
Christ did not come to us as a computer. He did not come as a Windows 11 computer. He did not come to
He
us.
didn't come as a projection on a screen. He didn't,
Yes,
come
as
out like
as
as
a
like 100 nanobytes or
40K
something.
tech
Yeah,
priest. He came to us as a human. He
right.
was indistinguishable from other humans of his time. So when you start thinking that you can maintain your humanity while uploading your consciousness onto a PC, and by the way, there have been actual attempts, successful attempts, at uploading the brains of much simpler creatures onto computers.
That's
This has
insane.
been done with fruit flies with success. So the idea of uploading a whole human brain onto a computer is not impossible.
I mean, even if it's not impossible, I really hope it doesn't work out.
Of
This
course,
sounds like a sci-fi
it
disaster waiting to
opens it.
happen. Yeah. I mean, when you think, I don't know if you watched Digital Circus, and for those of you who haven't watched Digital Circus, this is gonna be a bit of a spoiler. Wait, did you watch it? So I don't spoil it for you. I'll spoil it for everyone else, but I don't want to spoil it for you. Proda? I think his mic died. But basically, what he's saying just sounds like Digital Circus. So if you guys like watch the last episode and the movie, you basically know what the ending is, and I think it was pretty obvious, like from the start, that that was what the case was for them. But that sounds awful. Like if it actually happens, there was this other video game, and I think it was like a AAA game, and I can't remember what the title was. But I think the guy was like going underwater, like his memories were somehow like conflating with what had happened, and by the end, they upload like their conscience into this like kind of utopia looking thing. And I can't remember what the title of that video game was, but was it Soma? Is that what it was called? I don't know if that was the game. It was like kind of like a horror thriller. They were fighting monsters in this underwater area. Oh, it was really, was it Soma? Sounds familiar. Hold on, let me double check. I think his mic died or his connection died. Okay, yeah, it was Soma. I forgot who I saw playing it, but it was one of my friends, and I'm just like, bro, that ending was wild. Like all the stuff bro had to go through, and that ending, crazy, just insane.
Hello, can you hear me?
Now I can hear you. Yes, your microphone died.
Oh, thank God. Uh, yeah, I don't know what happened, but I'm sorry about it.
You're good. You're
I
good.
think I fixed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, new mic, it is giving me a little bit of trouble. Anyway, the issue with uploading your consciousness to a computer, of course, at the first glance, you might think, yeah, okay, it will allow me immortality. But if you think about it a little bit deeper, a little bit more, you come to a quite uncomfortable conclusion. how much technology from the 70s and the 80s is still usable? Not much, right?
It'll become obsolete at some point.
Not just that, it even just physically it will degrade. Like, for example, I have PlayStation 1 discs that are just 30 years old and they don't work anymore. Might just be because I uh, kept them in not the perfect conditions, whatever, but they don't work anymore and they're barely 30 years old. Imagine uploading your brain, yourself, your everything onto a computer's hard disk, and after 30 years, that computer's hard disk fails irreparably. What
Mm-hmm.
happens then?
Then you don't exist. And not only that, like you're not yourself anymore. And it's like I don't think we can copy souls. Like people might argue, like, "Oh, you
No,
don't have a
no,
soul."
exactly.
Like,
No,
what are you
it
actually? I
is
think it's impossible. That's why I think it's impossible.
no, exactly. That is a purely materialistic view of the human. It is an affront to God because in that way it doesn't see the whole, it sees only the parts. Because
Exactly.
yeah, we can completely recreate a human brain. Okay, okay, that is fine. But God did not create us as brains in a jar.
Yeah, that's true. And people are so like, you know what bothers me about this whole thing is that people are so obsessed with, surviving or trying to, immortalize themselves, but I never really hear a push for trying to be a better person and trying to be a better Christian or whatever. It's always about like how can I live long enough and have more stuff and how can I be this, that,
Yes,
me, right? It's become
yes,
so like
that is
selfish.
uh, that is a profoundly anti-Christian view of the world, and is caused, of course, by the prevailing zeitgeist, the prevailing culture, where Christianity is becoming more and more marginalized, not as important as it was in the
Right.
past. And the new god of this world is money, as we say, il dio denaro in Italian.
Money, fame, fortune, all of
Yes,
all of the women and men you can have. It's a party
yes,
down here and it's not a
pretty
fun
much.
one.
Which explains, in many ways, how someone can come to these philosophical conclusion, these philosophical beliefs, if you don't take into consideration Christianity at all. If you start from the premise that Christianity is false and that we are merely meat robots, of course you can come to the conclusion that the tech priest in 40K is not
Yeah.
something you want to avoid. It's not something disgusting, but it is an existence you wish for. Why? Because the tech priest in 40K doesn't live
Mhm.
70 years, it lives 400.
Yeah.
And you want to live 400 years.
No,
You
I'm
want
good,
to have,
bro.
yeah, you want to have the brain power of a supercomputer. You want to have like four pair of mechanical hands so you can do uh, more work at the same time. That's how, unironically, some of these people
Mhm.
think. And it's not a bug, it's a feature of their philosophy because it starts as a premise
Mhm.
from atheistic philosophies, from positivism, which in and of itself is an atheistic philosophy.
Yeah.
Positivism is the blind faith in science, believing that science is destined to progress infinitely and progress in and of itself is good. So if
Not
progress
all
in and of
progress is
itself is
good.
good, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. If progress in and of itself is good, if science is destined to progress indefinitely, then one day we will basically become able to do everything,
Mhm.
and we could say that we are gods. Of course, I can understand that line of thinking. We can't agree with it as Christians, because if we
Right.
would agree with it, we would pretty much be heretics or worse. But I can understand from whence they came. Of course, the conclusions that they reach are flawed because they start from assumptions that to us are flawed. They dismiss completely Christianity as a matter of course, when to us it cannot be dismissed for various reasons. First of all, because, well, Christ did die and resurrect for us. But even if you don't want to take that, there is a stronger just moral and social argument to make for Christianity. It has worked for 2000 years to create strong societies. If we completely divest ourselves from it to embrace a new secular religion that would be this transhumanist religion, we're not guaranteed that the new society that will be created by this will be a good society. First of all, because, as I was saying before, long-termism in and of itself already justifies doing evil acts for quote-unquote a greater good. But not only that, there is also to consider the fact that if the elite are the ones that are able to make the transition into Homo Novo or Homo Deus, whatever they want to call it, the elites will
It's just another. I think his mic died again.
humanity adapt.
Yeah, I mean, it's just another form of oppression that the rich and the people
Exactly.
who are part of these projects will absolutely 100% abuse. And I was just thinking to myself while you were talking, the issue right now with people, and I think we had talked about this a little bit last time I was here on my stream, is that, or maybe it was on someone else's stream. I don't remember who was talking about it, but video games, for example, right? It's
Mhm.
you no longer actually like own the games. You're just basically buying a
Yes.
license, like any digital media. Now take that and imagine, right? They get to successfully clone people, which obviously I don't think is going to ever be possible. Or uploading the
Well,
conscience of a
cloning
person.
is not
It's
too
different.
difficult.
Sorry. Yeah. So like, let's say they upload someone, right? Like a digital circus kind of
Yes,
situation. What if you don't pay the subscription? What if you don't pay for the lights to be on?
you
And they
die.
cut your, yeah, exactly, they cut your power. You stop, your uploaded contents no longer exist, which would probably be more like a copy than like the actual you, if that like even worked. And I'm just thinking to myself, if they're doing this with like games from Sony, Nintendo, all of this, imagine they could put a lock on your conscience. They could put it behind a subscription wall, and then you're just cooked. Like,
No,
that sounds
I agree.
horrible, the
That
amount of things
would
that people could
be
do with that.
an extremely scary um, an extremely scary proposition. Uh, I wouldn't want such a future for my worst enemy, let alone for myself or my friends. And yet, that is not something that is out of the question if we end up in a society where the tech elites have their cake and eat it too, as they actually want to do. If they can't manage to enact their transhumanist philosophy and turn it from a mere philosophy into actual reality, well, of course, as I was saying, if some of them, in quote unquote, improve themselves and become more than humans, of course, they would see us as lesser, so they would have less empathy towards us
Mm-hmm.
because, and pardon me for making this example, it might sound stupid, but in their frame of mind, which is also an evolutionistic frame of mind,
Mm-hmm.
humans evolved from a precursor species that was more similar to chimpanzees, and then it would evolve again into a transhuman, the Homo Novo, the new
Mm-hmm.
man. Now, if you were to go to the zoo and a chimpanzee would attack Gabriel, okay,
Gosh.
and try to bite off his nose, would you shoot the chimpanzee or not?
Bro, that chimpanzee's about to get obliterated off this earth, bro.
Yes, that is precisely my point. They are probably they are very similar to us under many aspects, but they're not us.
Mm-hmm.
So it is not out of the question completely that in a future where these elites manage to transcend humanity and become something that they think is better, that they would see us as annoyances, and if we revolt, if we try to organize a strike to get better working conditions, higher pay, stuff like that, who's to say that they won't just shoot us? This is
I
something to
mean,
consider as well.
that's fair to consider because, from their point of view in their high castle, they think that we are just peasants, ants that they can step
Yes,
on. And I would, and that's the thing, like, sure, they're already doing things to us now in various different ways, but this just seems like a whole other level of evil. It's not just like, oh
yes,
yeah, it's just, fun science experiment. We're trying to be really cool and, pushing the limits of humanity. No, it's going to be another form of oppression that I think is going to be much more sinister than what's going on now. If they were to ever achieve that, which again I don't think they ever will. But you never know, right?
no, that is perfectly correct. That is what I think as well. Fundamentally, as I said before, it is a diametrically opposed view of mankind and of humanity than what we have. For us, humanity, with all its defects, with all its problems, is blessed because it is the form that God chose when He went with the incarnation. For them, humanity is the form that we currently have. It is inherently flawed because we die, because we get old, because we
Mm-hmm.
get sick. It can be improved and it should be improved. For us, it's not a matter of improving our form because we know that a real life isn't here. The real life is with Christ after we
Exactly.
die.
Amen. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that and again, I know that there will always be people in the world who don't believe in God, who will reject them. But it's interesting to me, like, what you said is that they're chasing after like their own religion that, in my
Yes,
opinion, seems much more crazier. Because at least with Christ, right, we have documentation that he did exist, and the Romans and stuff, they kept like pretty good track of who he was as a person, and we obviously have scripture and tradition passed down. But this is like a pipe dream 9,000 and a half. I'm shooting for Pluto over here instead of what's probably more realistic. And I just don't see it not being oppressive. And when I compare Christ and his ministry and what he did, he was here to liberate us. He wasn't here to keep us in
yes,
chains or in a digital box. He came to free your souls. And at the end, if we rely on him and follow his commandments, go follow the traditions and stuff, we'll be with him in paradise or in heaven forever, and it's gonna be much more freeing than whatever digital box people want to put us behind.
yes. Not to mention, of course, that first of all, if we even move forward to achieve virtual quote unquote immortality by uploading your brain to a machine, there is the issue of who owns the machine, as you were
Exactly.
saying earlier. There is the issue of how long the machine can survive. And this is not infinity because the laws of thermodynamics cannot be broken. Entropy, no matter how they think, uh, cannot really be eliminated. You know, you can believe what you want, but the laws of thermodynamics are a fundamental constant of our universe. You can't create energy from nothing unless
Exactly.
you are Jesus Christ.
Yeah, you have to be
Of course,
God himself because he
yes, that
everything comes
is
through him.
yes, that is basically what limits us. We cannot create stuff from nothing. We cannot make, of course, without spending energy. We cannot make heat go from a cold body to a hot one unless we spend more energy than that which goes away. If you start to think about immortality in a physical sense, just, and I say this as a chemist, so I am a man of science. I did university level research as analytical chemist, then I worked into the pharmaceutical sector.
Hmm.
So this is a very pragmatic
Yeah, people were
response.
actually asking in chat. Sorry, language.
Yeah.
What you do, and I managed to answer that. You're a chemist. I don't know if you wanted to share more about that, so that people can kind of
Yes,
better
sure,
understand your
sure,
perspective.
sure. If they they may ask whatever they want, I have no problem. So right now I'm in a bit of a weird position because I am in between jobs, but I am chemist. I got my degree in analytical chemist. I worked in analyzing samples of air, water, breast tissue, muscles, soil to analyze the presence of microplastics and persistent organic pollutants. Um, I have a publication, I think. I'm not sure if actually that got published. I should ask my former colleagues about the presence in the meat of the Greenland shark of both microplastics, flame retardants,
Hmm.
and other persistent organic pollutants like bisphenol A, polychlorobiphenyls, stuff like that. I won't go into further
Hmm.
detail unless I am explicitly asked, but
I
that is
mean,
what
it's
I.
also probably not like the stream for it, but I think it does
Yes,
basically
yes,
like you have experience in science and you've been looking into things yourself, on
exactly.
topics like
Yes,
that. So.
yes, yes. And after that, I worked as head of research and development for a small pharmaceutical company in Italy, and we produced stuff for the dermatological sector,
Hmm.
uh, stuff to treat vitiligo, um, various kinds of eczema, uh, and various hair illnesses. But as a matter of personal interest, I'm also very much interested in theology and in philosophy. So I did some reading on the subject, and I came up with the idea for this particular stream because I thought it would be quite interesting in going into detail about transhumanism, about how, especially, our tech elites are fully embracing these philosophical views, and how I think that is very problematic and very dangerous because that kind of idea, that kind of philosophy, does not have the built in safeguards for the quote unquote lesser people that Christianity has, because as Christians, we do believe that every one of us has been created with equal dignity
Mm-hmm.
before God. But if you are a subscriber to transhumanist ideals, you don't necessarily believe that all humans have the same dignity. Because again, if Brian Johnson was willing to get the blood of his son injected into himself, and probably the son gave consent, of course, but I'm not sure that was a fully free consent given the situation. Who is to say that they won't take your blood to, and who is to say that they won't do worse stuff to us?
Right.
That is,
And it goes back to the whole topic of control because
yes.
they're always looking for a way to control the masses, you
In
know, through
fact,
vaccines, through these mass
there,
panics,
there is,
through bioengineering. It's not new. It's just
yes,
getting worse every single time.
there is an argument that could be made that the modern tech focused capitalist society is devolving into a quote unquote techno feudalism, where the biggest companies are all involved in technology, and they are so big that they are more influential than the state. And of course, they can act how a small um, feudal lord would 1,000 years ago.
Yeah, I
He,
mean, we are becoming a technocratic society, and I mean, I think that the like you had mentioned earlier with the whole Marxist thing. I mean, they're interwoven, and the laws and the people who are trying to be in charge. You know, it's not just like the government that we might have had when the U.S. was first established, but rather these people who are crazy about data. Evidence trying to do efficiency, but they push it, on people and are trying
yes,
to like quote unquote fix them. It's gonna keep getting worse, especially as the technology gets better. I think that like Marxist ideologies and principles did kind of like influence this, and it's gonna continue to just be pushed. And I don't necessarily want to name drop people, but Jay Dyer, I really like watching for like his geopolitics and stuff, and he
mhm.
frequently talks about this. And I don't know if you already mentioned, but if you guys want to look into a book that kind of predicted this, or at least would talk about this maybe from a more like Christian perspective, is Saint Seraphim Rose. His book of Orthodoxy and Religion of the
With
Future.
the religion of the
Yeah,
future, yes,
Religion of the
yes.
Future talks about this technocratic stuff, technology. The way that these governments are trying to push these ideologies on us, and what the future can very much look like. Right.
In fact, I wanted to get there. Basically, we, as he says, the religion of the future, in many ways, will be um, religion that would unify all other religions. And if you think about it, we can't see there are starting to be moves in that sense. I am not sure if that would be uh, transhumanism, if that would be some kind of weird new age bollocks that takes a little bit from Christianity, a little bit from Islam, a little bit
Mm-hmm.
from
Well, that's
uh,
like a whole other
Hinduism.
discussion, is like the one world religion and the digital currency that they're trying to put.
Yes,
I don't think they're like directly related, but it will help kind of set the stage for like pushing this out to the masses in a much more from their perspective, right, a more efficient way. And guys, I'm not a scientist.
yes.
I'm not like super deep into this. I'm just kind of like with my limited knowledge, just kind of analyzing what Proda has said, and just like how evil people can be, and this is just a tool for them to,
They're not
push their
just
agendas,
evil.
right?
They're not just evil. This is the worst thing. They think that they're doing the good thing. It's as I was saying earlier, efficacious altruism. They basically apply mathematics to how to do the most good possible, but that this leads to aberrant results, as I was saying, because, like, for example, okay, if to obtain the most good possible, you need to create robots that serve humanity's every whim. And in order to do that, you have to have people working 24/7 for 3 years without pay.
Hmm, yeah.
Otherwise, you're unable to do it.
Mm-hmm.
In that frame, that becomes the ethical thing to do because after 3 years, everyone would live like a king. Yes, until the robots start malfunctioning, until the robots start going,
Until
kind
they
of wild.
start taking over the world, and we have a matrix
No, no,
situation where
no,
we're all in
not
pods and our
necessarily
brains.
that. Not necessarily that, but they just, they might malfunction. They might have their identify identify friend and foe system malfunction. They think, oh, instead of you being Celeste, you're a
Your
random
enemy.
invader, home invader, and they kill you. That could actually happen. I can envision such a future. The
I
issue,
mean,
the issue
I
is
was
that
kind of joking about like the Matrix, but like think about it. The technology, the robots are, controlling the humans basically, right? And they're in this. They
right,
upload their
and
conscience or whatever into a
that
simulation.
that
They're
particular movie is extremely inefficient because
hmm
robots in that situation would probably adopt nuclear power instead of using humans as batteries
yeah,
because we wouldn't produce much energy, and
yeah,
it would be a great waste of food for them to use us as batteries. Well,
yeah.
nuclear energy, on the other hand, would be much more reliable,
The
but it
stigma
would
against
have
that,
made,
but yeah.
yeah, it would have made for a worse story, probably.
Yeah, I think more so the point was like maybe the control of technology, but then again, I haven't watched that like franchise in such a long time, so I don't even remember what the author's intentions were besides cool, epic. We're going to shoot
Yeah,
in slow
yeah, no, no,
mo.
no. I mean, it was a very epic movie. I still watch it once in a while. Um, I do think that it was full of Christian references and that Neo was supposed to be stand in for Christ, by the way, because in
Yeah,
many ways, um, I even watched Matrix in high school with our um, religious study professor because in Italy we do have 1 hour per week of uh, Catholic
yeah,
religious education, and we watched Matrix with him, and we he went into details with all the biblical parallels that were in the story. So I can see that as having been intended as the um, Christianity adapted for a new age
yeah,
instead of a completely new religion that trashes Christianity into the dustbin of history, as is the way that it seems to be going right now with the tech elites, which is much more worrisome to me.
yeah, man. This whole thing, and it's like even if you say like, and I guess my thing is why I feel a little bit hopeless, but not completely because obviously these things have to, come to pass to some extent. I don't know how far it'll get, but it just feels like no matter what we say, because we're smaller voices, like we can't make a huge impact so that people wake up. And then obviously people will choose the path of least resistance and choose
Yes.
this even. But to get as many people kind of alert and at least aware of the situation, it feels almost impossible. Like they look at you
Well,
like you're a
that's
crazy conspiracy
what we're
theorist. It's
doing
like the
right
writing's on the
now.
wall, you know?
What we're doing right now is a
Right.
start. We expose the issue to the public. I did some research. I read some philosophers that went into detail about critically about the ideology that is becoming pervasive among the tech bros in Silicon Valley. And I wanted to do this bit with you specifically to explain how and why this is especially um, devious and dangerous for Christians, because some
Mm-hmm.
Christians do unfortunately fall victim to this because they embrace humanism, and in a way I agree with humanism. It's not in itself a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
Humanism has produced the Renaissance here in Italy. I live in Florence, so every day I go out to see beautiful works of art that are a product of humanism. So there is nothing wrong with that. But when humanism moves to the point that you want, you're not satisfied with your humanity, when you want to transcend it, when you want to go into the realm of the divine, either literally or just metaphorically, because on a metaphysical point of view, you are intending to break all the limits that you have, which would, again, metaphorically put you uh, in charge of your own existence
Yeah.
as your own personal God, then I take issue with that, because that fundamentally goes against not only humanism as intended as a Christ-centered movement, because the uh, 14th, no, 15th and 16th century humanism was a Christ-centered
Mm-hmm.
movement. Like Da Vinci was still Christian.
Right.
Okay, maybe he was a homosexual, yes, but he was a devout Catholic nonetheless. Donatello, he was still Christian, he was a devout Catholic. We can't say that we're not perfect, but they were raised in a very Catholic country, Italy in the Middle Ages, and that culture rubbed onto them. They had their own personal aspirations, their own personal goals, their
Mm-hmm.
own personal
They
philosophies.
were great artists of the time. And still great
Yes,
artists of this time, to be honest. Low-key.
yes,
Yeah.
but the most important thing is that they, and this is something that I greatly appreciate and I think is lost in the modern day. Mm, uh, Especially Da Vinci, he viewed when he died. At least this is what is said in the museum that is in his home in Vinci.
Mm-hmm.
He said that when he died, he was ashamed that he had wasted the talent God had given him, because he had died too young to have used it to its full potential. So it is still a very Christian outlook on the world. He was, of course, using his talent, but he was using his talent in a way that would make him, his family, and more importantly, God proud. Of course, he had his run-ins with the church.
Mm-hmm.
He had a lot of problems with religious authorities. He did things that were considered unsavory at the time, like he uh, dissected the corpses of criminals to learn anatomy. that was considered very distasteful. In fact, he did get into trouble for this, if I remember correctly. And of course, the allegations of his homosexuality.
Yeah.
But
Someone
overall,
mentioned that in chat actually just now. I was like, wasn't he gay?
there are a lot of allegations that he was he was banging his assistant, but there is no 100% proof about this. Some scholars maintain that he was not homosexual, he was merely not very interested in women, but we actually do not know. It is probable that he was homosexual.
Oh boy. Well, transhumanism, guys.
Yes,
That
yes.
makes you gay. No, I'm kidding,
Sorry
messing
for the
around.
digression, guys. I do hope that it was still entertaining. If you have further questions, feel free to ask them, and I will answer as best as my abilities. And if you like this, in the future we will continue doing similar podcasts about other hard and important topics. Just let us know. And at this point, I will read, well, not read because I can't see the chat, but answer eventual
Yeah.
questions that
If
you
you guys
have.
have any questions on what we're doing or you want to like share some of your commentary on Twitch and on Kick, I have ask a question redeem. On Twitch it's 1 point. I believe on Kick it should be like 1 point or something as well. So if you guys want to ask a question, make sure to use those redeems, and then I will bring those questions up to Proda. We'll take a couple, not too many, because Proda, I also know that you probably have to go to bed because it's like really late where you are.
Yeah,
So we'll
it's
take a couple
1
questions.
a.m. It's 1 a.m. here, but I took a coffee right before doing this because I didn't want to fall asleep in the middle of this.
Yeah. Well, brother, you still need to get your sleep. You can't be up all
Yeah,
night.
yes. I mean, it probably would have been far less entertaining if we
Yeah.
started the stream and halfway through I started snoring very
Yeah.
loud. Or maybe it would be entertaining. We
I
don't know.
I don't think anybody wants to hear me sleep or probably not, no. But yeah,
Yeah.
I appreciate you all listening. I think this is a really interesting topic, and Broda's kind of in a way he's like a professor. So I'm here sort of commenting, but he's the
No,
one with the
no, no.
brains here.
Let's not exaggerate. Let's not
I
exaggerate.
said like a
I
professor.
Okay. I can teach chemistry, that yes, but I don't claim to be able to teach everything. Okay?
I know. Look, I don't think anyone expects us to go on a whole like 10-hour lecture about transhumanism and the mind being uploaded
No,
into the
no, of
con.
course. Of
I think we're
course, of
just here
course.
doing some fun commentary. That's all.
I mean, if people are interested, I would be very happy to do uh, uh, a talk about microplastics and how they actually are influencing the health of humanity in general. They are impacting our reproductive health. They're contributing to the birth crisis. But because I studied them personally, so I have firsthand experience in the subject. Of course, not right now, as it is. It's not the time nor the place, but maybe if people are interested, if you're interested as well, we could do that in the future,
Bro,
right?
what is going on with this?
What is everything okay?
I might just have to time someone out for a little bit. Anyway, yeah, so good stuff. And if you guys have any more topics or anything that you want to talk about, like see us talk about in the future, it would really mean a lot to hear from you. I also have to look through the Reacts channel to see what there is that we can potentially react to even in the future. So, Mac and Cheese on Kick just asked, what would be your argument against transhumanism when scripture itself doesn't condemn humans creating and making tools? Couldn't transhumanism be argued as applying the ability to create that God has given us? I see no issue with genetical mechanical modification as long as it doesn't become a false icon and we give all glory to God.
Okay, this is a very intelligent question. First of all, I thank you very much for asking it. And my answer is pretty simple, really. There is a limit in what we can do to quote unquote modify ourselves before we stop being human. The intention is the key. Because if you start with the intention of becoming better than human, making humanity better than what it is, you start from a flawed premise because we are in the image of God, and it is very
Mm,
presumptuous to assume that we can improve on what God created from
that is a good
Christ.
that is a good point,
But,
honestly, that you made,
but
yeah.
if we start and go like, okay, this guy lost his limbs in an accident. We can't give them robot limbs. It will improve his quality of life. But he's not becoming something more than human. It's just a regaining a capability that he had and then he had lost. Or allowing someone who was blind from birth to be able to see again with either a retina transplant or bionic eyes. There's nothing wrong with that because you're not fundamentally modifying the human form to make it something that it is not. When it starts being problematic is when you start, as I said before, with the intention of improving upon God's creation. Like, for example, you are not satisfied with the speed at which you think, so you implement a modification through to your brain with some microchips that help you think much faster. All right, that does go against what we should do as Christian, because in a way that is directly rebelling against God. It is equal to saying, okay, what you created is insufficient.
Yeah, and I do appreciate you bringing that up because yeah, it's one thing to restore something that God has given us, right? Because of sin, we live in a sinful, fallen world. Our bodies are subject to entropy, to decay. And it's a whole other to completely modify your body and say that you're going to do better than God.
Yes,
And it's like, well, true, what is the limit? Where do we cross the line? When does enough become enough, right? And I can see Mac and Cheese's point, but there has to be hard limits, like where, and I think defining that's going to be really helpful. And I think from a Christian perspective, you're going to have to stop way sooner than, let's say, an atheist or someone who is into this kind of belief, into transhumanism, who's super deep in the sauce, right? We're going to
right.
have a much harder stopping point.
My opinion, as I already shared, is that the intention that you put uh, at the beginning is what determines what is wrong and what is not when you come to these kinds of modifications.
Right.
If you modify someone who is already healthy to augment him or her and to make it better than the human form, no. If you take someone who is disabled and you help him live a more full life because you remove his or her disability, then by all means, that is a very good thing to do because You are actually helping your fellow Christian, your fellow son of God, by reducing the burden that he has or she has to live with. And that is good and that is moral.
Yeah, I agree. And so we have another question here. This one's from
Okay.
Beeper23 on Kick. Well, if we're talking about replacing limbs, how about we go to the far end? What if a person's body is dying, but the brain lives? Would it be okay if the whole body's replaced, assuming it acts just like the normal human meat body?
Mhm. That is a very interesting question. And honestly, it is. I do think that if a whole body is dying, at that point, if there is a way to save it through medicine, attempt it. If the only way to save it is to put the brain inside a robot, stuff that is clearly not human, no. Clone a new body just to host the new brain is also immoral because the clone is also alive and you are denying that person their chance at life. You're killing them so that you can implant the brain of a dying person into them. That is, in many ways, that can be considered murder, and I do consider it murder if that is the solution. If what you argue for is okay, medicine gets better and better to the point that even someone who is so heavily injured in, say, an accident that right now would die, but maybe in 30 years' time they're able to save him, I have no problem with that. But when it
Mm-hmm.
comes the issue of quote unquote body transplant, absolutely not, because it would require someone else dies for you to get a new body. Uh, of course, if it is someone who is already dead and you get the new body, the body is already dead. Well, you can't really make a dead body work with a living brain. It will soon die anyway. If you take a living body and put in the brain of the person that was about to die, as I said, I think that would be pretty
Yeah.
unethical because it would require killing someone who is living, whether
Mm-hmm.
it be a clone or
Living
living
person, worst
person.
case of all,
Yes,
yeah.
a clone, of course, would be better because you lower the risk of rejection for the various new organs, as they would be foreign to the brain that is transplanted into it, or the brain actually would be foreign to the
Mm-hmm.
new body. But no,
Okay.
I don't think it would be ethical.
We have Taste XT. What is the next logical step of transhumanism where we currently are with everything that has progressed? What is the next step we can expect to see? And this is for you, Proda.
Yes. Frankly, I think that at this point, and they're not even trying to hide it, they're uh, in a race to create the stronger and stronger AIs to try and reach the singularity. Many of them believe that once they reach the singularity, our technological progress will be so fast that basically everything will become possible. I don't think that will be true. But nevertheless, if sufficiently powerful AI system will be produced, coupled with the mass surveillance that we already uh, is being created, we can expect much less freedom in the future,
Yeah.
and that is definitely not something I want to deal with. I think nobody here wants to deal with that, but it's
Yeah.
sad to say. I think it's not.
It's not slowing down. It's going to keep going for
Yes,
sure.
it's not a far off future. I think it's
Very
sadly
closer, much
realistic.
closer,
Yes.
yeah, than we think, yeah. Bruce Remains. He is asking you, what are your thoughts on CRISPR or CRISPR and the responsibilities associated are? What would be a good oversight body look, in his opinion? 40K Inquisitioners or Brussels Bureau? What? Wait, what
I'm
was that?
I am unfamiliar with the word. Can you spell it for me, please?
Yeah, I'm gonna forward you this question. Hold on, let me send it
Yes,
to you.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
so basically,
Thank you
if I
very much.
remember correctly, I think CRISPR has to do with altering the DNA of a person. It's like a technology that lets you alter DNA, if I recall correctly.
I have heard it before,
Yeah, so
but
it stands for clustered, regularly interspaced short palindromic repeats. So it's a powerful, precise gene editing technology adapted from the natural defense
oh,
system of bacteria.
so okay, okay, okay. I had heard it before. I will be frank with you. I don't know enough of this technology as to be able to tell you it is good, it is bad, it is dangerous. At the moment, I don't know enough. I will, however, read more into it. There is no shortage of scientific papers on it, I'm sure. And maybe I will get back to you in the future
Hmm.
if you want, and I will give you my opinion.
Hmm.
Okay?
And then I
Sorry
think
if I can't do that right now.
you're good, man. Thank you for sharing that. And then I think this will be the last question. This is from TRT. What about
Okay?
using the tissue cloning method that Israel uses to make fake meat, but altered in some way?
Uh, okay. So tissue cloning is actually something that can be useful. For example, for having organ transplants without rejection. And that is probably something that I can't see happen in the future. And it won't be much of a problem from my point of view because it's just medical science improving. Because you're not doing that to make a random guy have two hearts instead of one. You're not giving them three lungs like the Space Marines. You're using them to cultivate in vitro a heart that has the exact same DNA, the exact same antigens as the heart of the person that needs a heart transplant. So instead of having to take tacrolimus for 10 years to suppress immune reactions to the transplanted organs, you can just give them an organ that is 100% compatible. It would also solve issues related to organ transplant in how it is harder to find organs for people that have rare blood types like O negative.
Mm-hmm.
For those, it is particularly rare to find compatible organs. But
Right.
if you can cultivate tissue from the exact same person in the future, because right now the technology is not developed enough, that would be a godsend, quite honestly. I think it would save a lot of lives, and I don't see any particular ethical issues with that. It's basically uh, an evolved form of organ transplant.
Yeah. I can definitely agree, and I just think that people like we always need to define the hard limits of like what's fine and acceptable. That's just to restore
Yes,
something that we already have that might have been broken or whatever, versus trying to make something entirely new and let's say quote unquote more efficient in ways that are not exactly human, that are unnatural in order to
yes.
satisfy the ego and such.
To to explain it in a very short and concise sentence, if you take uh, Oscar Pistorius, he used to be runner that had lost both of his legs, and he had them swapped out for cybernetic ones. That's perfectly fine. If you take a space marine or a tech priest, that's going too far.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I agree. All right. Did you have anything else that you wanted to share? I think that's where we're gonna stop definitely for questions for now. But thank you guys to
Yeah.
everybody who
Yes.
did ask a question. Very insightful, very cool. Very much enjoyed it myself
Yes,
as well.
I actually want to thank everyone that shared their questions, because they were very intelligent questions, and actually they show that the people were involved with the topic. I appreciate that very much, and again, I thank you all very much.
Yeah,
Um,
the beans are smart people. I may not be
yes,
able
yes.
to respond to all
No,
of you in the different chats, but I see you guys. You're really smart. Though you might be the next Nobel Peace Prize winners, but you might have to become a woke liberal in order to get that. So if you're not one, then you get a prize in my
yeah,
heart. That's all I
yeah.
know.
They might get
Oh my gosh.
a mafia Nobel Prize instead.
Yeah, we should do that, dude. Like everybody makes a science experiment, they send in their videos and they get like a Bean Mafia like award sent to them.
Yeah.
It's gonna be made out of cardboard. I'll
Okay.
paint it with fake gold paint.
That would be pretty
I'm messing with
funny.
you, I'm messing with you.
Premio Nobel per la mafia. That would
Mm-hmm.
that would sound pretty funny in Italian too. Anyway,
Yeah.
uh,
Amen.
yeah, I thank you very much. I thank all the listeners, and in the future, if you appreciated my presence here, I will be very happy to share my knowledge and expertise on other subjects. Just let me know, and I will discuss the possibility of continuing this with Celeste. For
Heck
now, I
yeah.
wish all of you a very pleasant rest of your day. God bless you, and keep the faith.
Amen. God bless you, man. Thank you for joining. Appreciate you a lot, and I hope you sleep well. I'll see you soon.
Bye bye.
Alrighty. We're back. Good conversation, good talk. He knows his stuff and it was fun. Uh Hopefully I will learn to comment more when we do these topics, but that's definitely a topic that I have been interested in myself in my own personal time because of the way that our society is going. And I think I have more interest because sure, there's like the cybernetic stuff, the cool cybernetic stuff that people always like talk about, but I think that there are other ways that we're kind of going in right now, and that includes the whole trans movement thing where people are injecting themselves, with like HRT and whatever. And even though they might not think like, oh, I'm doing this for science to see how far I can push the limits of my body, it does relate because people are trying to become something that they're not, right? Like men are trying to become women, mostly in droves for whatever the reasons may be. People have body dysphoria and other things for whatever the other reasons may be. Women who hate themselves enough to want to become men, even though in this current climate, I wouldn't want to be a man. And well, thank God I'm not, I guess. But so like for me, that's where my interest mostly comes in. Like the cyberpunk stuff, it just seems like very dystopian. Uh, but obviously there are crazy people who have throughout history tried to do things like that with gadgets and gizmos and whatnot. So I think it was a pretty good talk. I hope that you guys enjoyed that. That was fun.